listening to The Bob Dean Show, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hi, gang. It's me, Bob Dean. Yay. On The Bob Dean Show, coming to you live from my palatial, dingy bachelor pad in Santa Monica, California. How's everyone? Halloween is almost upon us. Got my decorations out. This is Dennis's plastic enclosed, actual real live bat. Well, not real live, but real bat. Pretty cool. Anyway, I am real happy today. Well, I'm never happy. I'm surly. But a really, really, really very close and old friend of mine is our guest today, Mr. Webb Sanderson from Little Rock, suburban Little Rock. Where are you from now, out there?
That'd be Mayflower, Arkansas.
Mayflower, Arkansas, where he and his lovely bride, who I also have known since we were wee children, Kelly Babington Sanderson, is his bride. And hey, Webb, how are you?
Doing great, Bob. Good to see you.
You too, my friend.
We're getting
Happy
old.
Halloween coming up.
Yes, happy Halloween.
Yes, we are. Well, thanks for joining us on the Bob Dean Show.
You're very
I want to start off by, I don't know if we could do this. This is the 1977, but we went to Bellevue High School in Bellevue, Nashville, Tennessee.
All right.
And this is 77 was sophomore year. Now, I don't know, Sam, I'm going to try and hold this up. If we can see Webb. Wait a minute. See how wait here. There you are on the end. Can you see that okay?
Yeah. Yeah. I see me there in the white shirt.
Yep, and with the long hair.
Yep.
You were a cool guy. That was the year that we would borrow my father's Bonneville.
Yeah. Without his knowledge.
Yeah, without I took it upon myself. My father traveled quite a bit in Europe in that year and the year before, and so I got the itch to borrow my mother's car and drive around. And it was like the scandal of Bellevue, because those of you who know Nashville, Tennessee now, it was a really small town back then, and Bellevue was a really small community, and your family either had a little bit of dough or you were redneck as hell. With the rebel flag and the gun rack and all that stuff. And Webb and I were, but we all wore shoes to the country club. But I got the hankering, listen to me, every time I get around there from the South. And I would drive my mother's car around, and then I started picking up Webb. And when my dad would the only night we took my dad's car was when it raining so hard, I knew he wouldn't go outside for anything. We cruised around. So how's life in Mayflower?
Life in Mayflower is great. This is, I never thought when we were in high school that I would tell you when I was 60, almost 64 now, that I would live in Arkansas. We were in Nashville, Tennessee, and I had moved back and forth from Knoxville to Nashville. So I had been in both East Tennessee and in Middle Tennessee, and loved both of those areas, and never really considered Arkansas as home. We think of Arkansas, most everyone thinks of Arkansas as like way backwoods, right?
Way backwoods
and flat and ugly and all that. And especially the drive through it when you're coming from Memphis to Little Rock, it's probably one of the worst drives.
It is. It's ugly.
Entire nation. So when Kelly and I, Kelly Babington French Sanderson now, when Kelly and I reconnected at the high school reunion, at our 30-year high school reunion, that was 15 years ago. That was when I had just gotten sober, and I was on the road doing the magazine for the restaurant industry, and I reconnected with Kelly, so it forced me to find some business to do in Little Rock, Arkansas. So I got out here, and I contracted with Golden Eagle, the Budweiser distributor here, and they were distributing BOFO, the Back of House, Front of House magazine. And so it gave me the reason to come out here, and Kelly and I have been off and on together since then. And 8 years ago, heck, I came off the road with Back of House, Front of House, didn't do that anymore, and sold everything in Tennessee. And now I'm in Arkansas, and you can see behind me, it's a pretty place. So, I'm really happy to be here. And Mayflower, Arkansas is very small. It's about 2,000 plus population, 2,200 thereabouts. Small community, but tight. Like a lot of them, a lot of communities like this across the country. And we're happy to be here. We look forward to the day you visit us, Bob.
I can't wait. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you, and that Webb Sanderson and Kelly Babington at that time, we were all, like I said, we went to a very small, very waspy high school. So everybody didn't run in the same social circle, but we all got along. And Kelly was, she was academics. She was charming and had the most ridiculously loud cackle that used to crack everybody up when she laughed. But she was like student this and back this, she was very studious and very cool. And I was just a loudmouth. And Webb, you weren't like a freak, but you weren't a jock. You were like right in between of coolness. Seriously. You were a cool guy, and I always, you seem like such a bon vivant to me, just very classy, a little bit of that. You always dressed like really sharp, swank. And swank is a great word. And I just, at this point, I really thought that you'd be some sort of international businessman. But I follow you and Kelly vicariously because you post a lot about the progress of the Three Sisters Farm.
There's Bob Dean.
Oh,
there's Dean. Always a comedian.
Thank you. That is why I'm going through almost $50,000 worth of dental work now, because all I did was chew bubble gum and ice.
Yeah.
Yep. And you know what I'm talking about now. But those were the days. I never went anywhere without my Minolta camera and a big wad of bubble gum. I could blow a bubble in a convertible on the freeway with the top down going 70.
Yes.
And it wouldn't pop, it was like, and look at me now.
Look at us now.
The Three Sisters Farm is named after Kelly's mother, Sybil, and her two sisters,
Sandra and Gail.
Right.
No, that's one reason we named it. We were looking for a really good marketing name, a brandable name, and so Three Sisters because of Kelly's mom's and her two sisters. And then on my side of the family, my brother has three granddaughters. So there's three sisters there. And the topper is that the Indian technique of growing, they called Three Sisters, was corn, beans, and squash. And they grew those three things together, and they called them the Three Sisters because they helped one another, companion plants, the corn allowed the beans to grow up it, and the squash kept the weeds down, because it was low to the ground, the big leads. So they all worked well together. So those three combinations, Three Sisters, three combinations of Three Sisters, gave us a great name. And it has stuck. It's on the side of my truck. It's on everything that we do. And that's Kelly's business. I just do a lot of the work.
So let's start from the beginning on this. Now, you and Kelly. Now, Kelly was already in Arkansas, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Tell us about Kelly's children.
So Kelly was married just like I was. We both have one child from our marriages. Kelly has a daughter, Kayla, who is 28 now.
Oh my God.
And Kayla is a massage therapist here in Maumelle. She's also an esthetician. She works at a really swanky place in Maumelle. And she's very good.
Is that like what Raleigh is to Mayberry? Maumelle?
Maumelle is like Mount Pilot, I guess.
That's what I meant to say. Yeah, Mount Pilot versus Mayberry.
Yeah, or Conway. Conway could be that same thing. Mount Pilot, yeah, and so then Kayla's there. She lives in Maumelle and works in Maumelle, and I work in Maumelle, and we live here in Mayflower. And Kelly's in Little Rock working. That's where she is right now. Then I have Kayla also just got married. Actually,
I saw that. The wedding pictures are gorgeous.
Her husband Anjuan and Kayla are they're both working real hard and trying to figure out how they want to progress with life. And it's kind of fun watching that as an old man watching young people do the same things that you did, and taking the same paths in a lot of cases. And then on my side, I have a son named Aaron, and Aaron is in Jacksonville, Florida. And he was just here recently. We went to the Tennessee Arkansas football game.
That's a big game too.
Unfortunately,
how about them balls?
We lost the game, but Aaron and I won the weekend because we went fishing all up in northwest Arkansas and on the White River. And Arkansas is really a beautiful place, just as beautiful as Tennessee, if not more beautiful in some ways.
That's what people don't understand, because the South and whatever, and there's so much that I hear now, because Nashville, I've said this 100 times, I can never go back, never. So I mean, somebody's going to die, and I'm going to have to. But since the flood and all of the people that have moved there and all of the growth, I don't think my heart could take it. I just want to remember it the way it was when we grew up there. And I know it sounds stupid and immature, but that's just the way it is.
Well, it's not immature.
Well, they just don't know how beautiful the hills are, and it's not all deliverance. Like I said, we did wear shoes and that sort of thing most of the time. But there's just beautiful hills and valleys, and it's so green. And like I love Los Angeles, I really do. And I live close to the beach and all that, but it's concrete jungle. And
right.
When I was driving to a friend's out in the San Fernando Valley, where the Valley Girls are, oh my God, which people don't even know what that is anymore. But and I saw that there's this giant park,
pads, right?
What's that?
Isn't that why they wear shoulder pads?
Well, that was the 80s. That was the 80s look.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Well, but I was passing this giant park on a boulevard, and I was thinking, God, that's the first really large green thing I've seen in a couple of weeks.
Right.
But Arkansas, and then of course you have my niece. Oh my God, Andrea, Kristen lives in Little Rock, and then of course and I need to hook you up with her. She's into sports, like gym. I'm sorry, Kristen, I'll have to follow up on that. But then Melanie Shellnut.
Yes, and Melanie and her friends on Facebook.
Yes, have you met her in person yet?
Not yet, but she needs to come sit on the porch if she's watching. Consider this an invite, Melanie.
Yes, and vice versa, because I was so sorry that Dennis and I couldn't get up for your festival, really. And it's just a matter of health reasons. But Melanie has a small farm herself.
Yes, I know.
And she runs that place all by her. She's a beautiful gal. I mean, very.
We need to get together, get Melanie out here, and Kelly, get them together.
And I would love to be there. It would be a great visit.
Well, yeah. Well, you got to come visit. You and Dennis got to get out here too.
I'd love to do that. But yeah, Arkansas. But why I brought Melanie up is that she's, I've seen pictures and videos from her place, and it's just beautiful. She's got this, lake and stream that go through.
Oh yeah.
And that I'd like to have animals too.
That's what we're working towards. That we have my cat right now, Neo.
God, please let me. I foster cats, so if you ever want another, please let me know. That'll be a reason to come up.
Well, I will eventually get cats after Neo has her lifetime. Neo was a feral cat that when I lived in Knoxville, Tennessee, I was the last place I lived there I was the resident caretaker for a historic home.
No kidding.
Mabry Hazen House. It was built in 1858, and they had 6 acres, and I oversaw the grounds, and I lived there on site, kind of as a security guy. And so this cat was living underneath the guest house there, right next door to where I was staying. And she had a litter of kittens, and I started feeding her, and she imprinted on me. Well, when I hit the road with back of house, front of house, this cat went with me, and she traveled all around the country. She'd been backstage at Sturgis at Full Throttle, where I stayed for a week with the AC/DC tribute band.
Sweet.
She almost escaped out the door of the cabin where I was staying in. I barely got a hold of her. If she'd gotten out, she probably wouldn't be here now. She'd have been rattlesnake food.
Oh God.
But because she's imprinted on me, and she's does not like any other animals or any other people, and she tolerates Kelly until Neo's lived her lifetime, and she deserves this place. She loves it. She's outside. She's inside right now, but when she goes outside, she just loves creeping around and
I
seeing.
bet it's I would love a fabulous world for an animal.
Yeah. So now that we've got this property and we're developing growing things, we've got farm stuff growing, vegetables in the summer and flowers and all that, but we don't have any animals like you were talking about. So next is chickens and goats. We're about to fence off about a whole acre for goats, and I'll put the chicken coop in there too, so they can keep it scratched up for them too.
That's going to be great because I want to concentrate on the farm after this one statement too before I forget, because people know I'm very forgetful. Hopefully next week's guest will be an old friend from Miami. Her name is Sandy Segrillo, and she has a llama refuge in East Tennessee.
All right.
I can't specifically where it is. I should have jotted that down because she just texted me just a few minutes ago. But they just did a feature on her. She has it's a like a bed and breakfast,
right?
And she has a kitty guest house, and it's gorgeous. And I'm going to put the thing up on my Facebook page. The TV news just did an interview with her about 3 days ago.
Oh.
And it's this guest house that has like 12 cats in it. And it's gorgeous and clean and all that. And it's a place that you can go when you want to just snuggle with kitties. It's so unique and so cool. And you're going to love her too. She just like you, she's an old friend of mine from the old days. She and I attended bar together in this club in Miami, and it was right out of Scarface. and we made so much money. It was all in cash, and the girls dressed real scantily and the guys wore tuxes behind the bar, and we were wild children.
Oh, I bet. I can imagine.
And just as you and I were kind of wild children. But
I was in our business back then too, but I was doing that Selectrocution promotion.
I remember that.
For singles. I was in Miami at one point in time. I wish I'd known.
Did you not have? I asked you about this, and you said no. But I just sticks in my mind that you ran one of those things where they had the telephones on the tables.
Well, no, we were kind of like that. We had a LED readout board that was in the room, and everybody had a big initial badge. So you would be BD male, I would be WS male, and all the ladies in the room would have initials on too. So what we would do is you would write down a message and give it to an operator. The operator would type out your message, and it would go over this screen for everyone in the bar to see.
Yes.
The messages got really entertaining. Like, hey, female, you're a vertical expression of my horizontal desire. And of course, I had to edit these messages. When I left that company, I was the national coordinator. When I left that company, we were in 186 nightclubs a week in 27 states. And we were also doing college campus bookings too at the same time, because we had toured the National Association for Campus Activities. Boy, those were the days. And
you know what? That was high technology then too.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, state of the art.
We were cutting edge promotionally too. That was where I cut my teeth promotionally, and I've been in promotions and events ever since. So everything I do is a promotion, Bob.
No, well, that's why you're doing so well. So can we jump back to Three Sisters?
Sure.
Okay. Now, where was Kelly living in? Just a regular house or whatever? How did you acquire this property is what I'm asking.
Kelly had, she had moved, she was living with her parents for the longest, taking care of her dad. And when her dad passed away, she went and found a little small house. It was about the same time as I was coming off the road. So when I moved into it, we were in it for 5 years. I improved the backyard. I built a real nice deck to make it a nice, backyard oasis. And that kind of sold the house. And we'd already bought the property out here just by The one thing I did actually that's kind of interesting, and I like to tell people about this because you can do anything you want to do. Uh, I I just was hacking, and every morning I'd try to smoke a cigarette, and I'd hack up a lung every morning. And I finally decided. I had 2 packs of cigarettes. I had just bought them, and I'm sitting there looking at them. I'm like, why am I smoking these damn nasty things? And I need to quit this. So I just opened one of those 2 brand new packs, and I said, well, you know what? If I did the math on it, it came out to be about $250 a month, and that would be about the payment for a small piece of property. So
Oh my
I got
gosh.
thinking, you know, if I could just quit these things, then I'd have that extra money. I could do that, and that wouldn't affect our budget whatsoever. We could go ahead and buy the property and not have to sell the house first. So I did. I quit smoking. That was the last 2 packs of cigarettes I ever bought, and I didn't tell anybody. I didn't say anything to anybody, even not even Kelly. I just went about my business. And that last cigarette, I'll never forget it. And I actually told my son about this when he was here last week. Is that I the last cigarette I pulled out of that, I pulled out while I was on the phone with my son Aaron, and I lit it. And I told him, Aaron, I just lit my last cigarette, and I never picked up another one. And so that $250, that it was what the start of it was. Well, I was also sitting in the garage smoking those cigarettes, and in the garage was a nice 2015 Mini Cooper S with the loaded to the gills, and it was $400 a month. It was fun to drive, let me tell you. It was a lot of fun to drive. But that's $400 a month. I was like thinking, I could probably find something used to pay cash for. I make money selling this car. So I did that too. I got rid of that and created $650 a month. And we came out here and bought 6 acres originally, and then we ended up buying 6 more. So,
Oh man, I'm so proud of you, dude. I never even thought about that because out here, my cigarette bill, well, between
oh
the
man, I bet it's unbelievable.
well, they average $13 a pack. And between the two of us, and I really don't smoke all that much. I'm smoking now just because, I feel like it. But
Right.
honestly, I can go through I could go through a week without even thinking about one. But then sometimes, like I just had some coffee, and coffee makes me want to smoke. I don't drink a lot of coffee.
You'll get cravings for a cigarette.
Mm-hmm. You're not missing nothing.
All I have to do is a cup of coffee, like you said.
Coffee or alcohol.
Yep.
I cannot, drink without smoking. I mean, I can barely.
For 16 years now, and if I guarantee you, if I went and had a beer, I'd have to have a cigarette. So that would kill me. I'd break 2 things that I've quit at once if I did that. So I would never do that. I don't have any desire to drink alcohol again. And now that I've quit smoking for as long as I have, it's been going on 4 years, I guess. No, going on, it's 3 years. 3 years now. So,
This is Lily.
hey, there's Lily.
But go ahead, get through it. Please, sorry to interrupt.
So now, I don't want to smoke or drink anymore, and I have so much to do here that everywhere I look, there's something else I need to do. And if I sat down and had a beer, I wouldn't get back up. And if I started smoking cigarettes, I'd probably burn something down. So,
I'm so proud of you for being sober. I mean, because especially, with with the lifestyle you lead now, and your mind and your body are always busy.
Yeah.
It's not like you're like putting on a suit or whatever. You get up when you want to get up, and I'm sure it's the crack of dawn. And every day I'm watching you, and you're building this building and that building, and I swear I'm really envious. And
I'm not I make it look pretty easy on the pictures.
It's hard ass work.
It's not easy on my body either. I've got issues too. We all do. I've got some. Fortunately, I have some things that help me that are natural. I've developed a relationship with a company here in Little Rock called Buffalo Co., and they produce a CBD salve that's unbelievable. It works for pain. It's called No Pain Salve. They have other products too, but
Mm.
and I'm also hooked up with another company called Fennel and Fire Crafting House. They're down in River Market in Little Rock, and they have all organic spices and so forth. You know, all kind of blends, and Tay is
But
real
it
good.
does help you physically, you know,
What's that?
but it does help your mobility and your aches and pains
Because
and all.
yeah, I just have to keep moving. I always have to have something to do. When I had hand surgery, had surgery on both of my thumbs. Arthritis had forced the base of my thumb out, and so they did surgery last year on this one, and this past May 1st, I had this one done. And so the time it took that I was sitting on my butt not doing anything, I lost a lot of muscle. So it's taken me a while to get back to where I can do things like the railings that I'm sitting in front of right here. I built those out of that's real sawmill wood. It's a real 2x4. It's heavy wood. And after building 3 of these sections yesterday, my hands are like a lobster. So it's just you got to keep moving, and that's all I do. I'm not anything special. There's a lot of people that do what I do. I love what I do, and that's why I can do it. You know, if you love what you do, it's easy to do whatever it is that your passion is.
You know,
This,
it's interesting that you say that because, like, I love tending bar. I do. I've been doing it for 43 years now,
yeah.
except for the 2 years that my father said, you know, get a real job. And you know, I worked for a great company, great people, McEwen Cherry, Auto Orange Sound. They were great people, but it just wasn't for me, you know.
Yeah.
And so I love being behind the bar, but you know, it's a young man's game.
It
And
is. We were talking
I'm-
about that
I
before.
had right, and I had my accident behind the bar. I fell. That was like going on 6 years ago, and which resulted in 3 surgeries back to back. I had an entire year off. And I had to have rotator cuff surgery on my left side. So I knew what was coming. My surgeon, I've got this great surgeon, Michael Gerhardt, who's big time here in LA. I just lucked into him. And he told me back then that the right side is going to need to be done because that's because of all the years of porn.
Yep.
And right now it's gotten to the point where, you know, I'm learning to live with the pain because, knock wood, I've got excellent insurance and it costs enough. So that's not the issue, but it's 3 months of downtime to recover.
Right.
And that's what pulled me back. So that plus arthritis from pouring and carpal tunnel and
Yep.
the knees, and it's all from standing and running, you know.
But I know what you mean.
Yeah, and I love what I do, and thank goodness my gig now, because you know I've always worked in busy high-end places, and I work at the Mosaic Hotel in Beverly Hills. So if y'all are out there, you can come and see me. But it is the perfect gig. It's a little boutique hotel, and you know I'm the bartender, and it's very elegant, you know. But I'm the bartender, the cocktail waitress, the food server, the busboy, the room service attendant, the pool boy, and yesterday I was the bellhop.
All
But
right.
it's a great high-end clientele, and I'm making friends because we get a lot of regulars, and it just
That would be right up my alley. You know, when I first moved to Little Rock, I was recreating myself. I stopped doing BOFO after 10 years of trying to make a real connection for the hospitality industry with back of house, front of house. After 10 years of that, I had to recreate myself. So my first job here, I was the innkeeper at the Empress of Little Rock. It's a bed and breakfast downtown near the governor's mansion. It's a mansion built in 1888, and I got to cook breakfast for people. I got to check them in, check them out, and oversee housekeeping and take care of the gardens and the grounds. And man, it was a fantastic job. But the lady that owned that place was the biggest bitch I ever met in my life. After 7 months of this lady slamming her hands down when she was angry on my desk, I stood up and told her I just couldn't work for her anymore. That it was a toxic work environment, and I watched the blood flow come of her her face.
What's her name?
As I smiled as I walked out and jumped in my Mini Cooper and drove home happily. And that's when I created the personal chef thing out here. But that was a great job. I thoroughly enjoyed the job and the people I worked with, just not her.
Well, see, and that's it. You know, and see, now you're not working for anybody, and that's the dream of all of us.
Yeah.
Is to be doing our own thing. You know, because like I said, I love my job, but you know, you never know what's going to happen. It's like if you go on TripAdvisor, because I've always been such an ass. You know, I used to get fired every 3 years like clockwork because of my attitude.
Right.
This job, I get more, and I am self-promoting myself, or, you know, patting myself on the back I get more write-ins from people all over the country, all over the world, that they don't go on and on, but my name is always mentioned as being one of the highlights of their stay, you know?
Right.
And, you know, the barkeep and this and that. And I'm very flattered, and it's really neat, but you never, and you know, rewarded in the sense of, you know, we get a $10 gift card and all that sort of thing, but it makes you feel really good. And I've had couples from like Maine come up to this tiny little 5-seat bar. You know, I could put 3 other extra chairs around it, and when there's 8 people, that's a party, because I'm great at making people mix, you know. And I got a TikTok. I got to turn this phone over. I can't concentrate on one thing. I'm 5 years old.
I'm not surprised, Bob, at all that you've met with success everywhere you go, bartending and all of that, because you're such a personality, and that's what it takes behind the bar. You're not.
And you know what else? It leads to my stand-up comedy, which I'm no star, but I've got a good following, and I'm just now starting to get back into it. Oh, before I forget, I will be appearing with Anthony Amarillo's show at the Comedy Store on either the 4th or the 7th of November. They haven't chosen yet. And Percy Ramjan, he's been having me like every 3rd Thursday to his show, which is, you know, the 5 years running at the Ha Ha Club in North Hollywood. It's the hottest show.
I tell you what, we're gonna surprise you one day. I'm gonna show up there with Kelly on my arm at one of your shows.
Oh God, that'd be great. Because see, that's just it. Stand-up comedy. I have no rose-colored glasses of fame or fortune, because I was really hot onto it. I was through the invitations and connections of Sunda Kroonquist, who owns the LA School of Comedy, and she was the headliner. She's hilarious. If you've never Googled her, Sunda.
I have.
Right? Yeah, she's friggin' hilarious. Well, she was the headliner at the Laugh Factory on Saturday nights for years, and through her, she opened the door to do a lot of matinees and stage time there. I was doing the Comedy Store and improv and that sort of thing. And it was just, it's all for your personal fun. But getting back to the bartending issue, is like I've, you know, made friends who are very successful in front of and behind the camera. And I'm sorry, I'm watching a little bowl of water on the floor, and it's starting to go like this. And I'm just wondering if we're having an earthquake or something. Yeah, we have quite a few lately. But I have no fear of getting on stage. And my friends who are accomplished, and I won't drop names, but they're directors, producers, very successful, and in front of the camera, behind the camera. And that's the first thing they do. They're like, man, I am terrified to do stand-up. And I'm like, I guess it's because of all the years I've been behind the bar. It doesn't bother me to have all these faces looking at me at once.
While you're doing something important, like pouring a drink. I mean, you know, you got to concentrate to be able to do that and talk. You can't. And I love to do that.
I love hecklers. I love hecklers.
You know? Well, that's fuel, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes it's like, what's his name? Poor Michael Richards, and how his career got ruined. And you know, at the Laugh Factory, 20 years ago? Do you remember that? He played Kramer on Seinfeld. He played Kramer on Seinfeld, and he was heckled so badly that he used some really inappropriate language with these people. That was, you know, he used the word.
Yeah, that was before canceling became a thing, or maybe
exactly. But and I'm not defending this man, but I'm saying that I've been in his shoes, and when people are relentless and they just won't stop, it's like, you know, and if you don't know how to just control yourself, you know, or whatever, that he just lost it. And it's no defense, but you know, but fortunately, I feel like I can deal with that, you know.
Yeah,
but at any rate,
social media is that way too. On, you know, if you
know yourself, once you cancel for
doxed myself, you know, after making a joke about AOC in a hospitality, supposed to be a private group with bartenders, servers, and cooks, and I made a joke about her being a bartender, you know, and what it must have been like working with her. And you could imagine the joke. I won't tell it here, but it got my ass in a ringer. Let me tell you.
Dude, it's a whole generational thing too.
Yeah.
You know, you can't say, and it's like, I put this video up on TikTok, I won't let Lips listen. I have a friend, Corey's Kitchen. I'll promote it.
Right.
He's my neighbor who just moved out into his beautiful new high rise. He's a young guy, about 26, and he does a genuine keto recipe cooking show.
Cool.
It's called Corey's Kitchen. You should look for it on TikTok.
I
But he
will.
does it.
With a
He
C?
does it. It's Kory, Corey's Kitchen.
All right.
And you should, type it into your friend of mine or something sometime when he's on the air. He's a very handsome guy. He does it with no shirt on and an apron and a black bow tie and hat. They're genuine recipes, but he adds that sass to it.
Yeah.
And dude, for like $30, he will write your initials on his body,
Okay.
And you watch the screen going ching, 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 ching. So It's a genuine, but anyway, he's a really cool kid and I wish him well. I'm going to miss him because, and when I get an audition, I just go down to his place because he has a studio set up.
Right.
And he knock out what takes an old man like me a day and a half to do as far as putting the link in and all this crap.
Corey is your friend.
Yeah. Well,
I predict you have a big role coming your way, Bob. I think something's going to land in your lap that's just perfect for you.
Well, that you can only dream about that. But like I said, when I walk up on that stage and you get your first laugh, I swear to God, it's better than sex. It's better than any drug I've ever done. You just feel so charged, and you just got to keep that energy going.
Well, and that could be your thing. That could be the thing.
Who knows? Maybe something good would happen someday. But in the meantime, I just love doing it. But I don't want to talk about me. This show is not about me. But once when I was 6, remember? No, I'm kidding. Now back to the farm. Okay. Yes. Three Sisters Farm in Mayflower, Arkansas. I want to tell you this real quick too. My friend Sandy, who has that farm, Missy, my friend Melissa from South Beach, her family is all from East Tennessee, and she was in Portland for a long time with her sister. She moved back to East Tennessee. She's got a little house, and we were talking on the phone. She wants to buy a few acres and put a trailer up out there because trailers are cool if they're not all rednecked out and everything, I'd love to have a trailer out here for when there's an earthquake because it's just going to rock. But I should say a prefab home. But she wants to just get 3 or 4 acres and set something up and have lots of animals. And she said, would you think about being a part of that? And I swear to God, it's a marvelous idea.
Hey, there's plenty of cheap property right here in Arkansas.
Well, let me tell you what, because it's not anywhere else. And that's just it. It would be a great way to live out, what do we got, Webb? 20, 30 good years left,
I hope.
Well, I was being sarcastic. But why not? Get you some chigger spray and all. Yeah. But, I think that'd be a great idea because there's nothing better than having your hands in the dirt. My dad, you remember my dad? He loved his gardening and shit,
You could have as many cats as you wanted.
Cats, dogs. I love dogs. But cats are just easier, but, oh man, I'm not even going to start talking about that. That's for another show. Every time I have somebody on,
I can't wait to get goats.
See, Sandy has goats. So you need to talk to Sandy Segrillo. Hook her up. She's on Facebook.
Yeah.
You send her a message from me that you're a friend of mine. It's SGERILLO, but you can't miss it yet. But Sandy is first. And it's the Wandering Llamas is her organization. And but she's going to probably be on next week, if not soon. But with the variance of what you guys do, I know that you'll be fast friends. I know it.
Oh yeah.
But so three sisters, tell us all the things that you're doing as your brand with your herbs and what is the mums you're doing right now. And
well, see, we've got we started out here. I bought a greenhouse off of Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, and it was south of Little Rock. I had to go dismantle it and then bring it up here and assemble it. So I got that built 2 years ago, and we've been growing lettuces in it and all our vegetable starts before we put them in the ground. And then I'll do flower starts in there too, and then put them in the ground or sell them. Then we have our outside gardens that we grow. This year has not been a good year. The pests just killed me. Squash borers and squash bugs in general just destroyed our garden this year. We had plenty of flowers, but no vegetables. but I also have, the bees. I'm a beekeeper now, which
Oh my
something I
God, are
always
you
wanted
kidding?
to do, but never. I didn't think I'd be doing it this early in my life. Um, so I'm really blessed with that I kind of fell into the guy who posted up on Facebook that he needed a place to put bees because he had too many in his backyard in Maumelle, which is a small Mount Pilot of
Just
Arkansas.
right, just right up the highway.
Yeah. And so he wanted a place, he was asking for a place near the river, and that's what we have. We overlook the Arkansas River here. So I was the first one to make a comment. And so I got the bees. He brought his bees up here, and that's how I learned how to do it. So
How did you transport bees? I mean, in a convertible or what?
you do it at night. You do it at night and on a trailer, or on the back, a flatbed of a truck or bed of a pickup truck. At night is when they're all in the box, and you can seal the box up when you transport it so you don't lose any bees. Um, there's a lot to know about beekeeping. 10 million things more than I ever thought possible of having to know. So much stuff to know about beekeeping that I would never possibly know it all ever. And that stands to reason because it's Mother Nature, you know.
How many hives do you have?
Right now, I've got 2 hives. I had 3, but I lost one to wax moths. We pulled a little bit of honey off this year in the spring, and I pulled a little bit off here not too long ago. We'll be pulling just a little bit more off this year, maybe another 3 quarts, if that. Not really worried about as much honey as I get yet. I'm more worried about my bees being stable and strong for the winter time.
What about the influence of the African bees? I mean, that was such a hot topic a long time ago about them integrating into hives, and
I haven't had any problem. There's, I don't know of any issue here with any Africanized bees. I don't know if the bees I have are even Africanized. I think the problem with them is that they were a little bit more aggressive of a bee.
yeah,
And
exactly. That's exactly what it was.
And so some of my hives are aggressive and some are not, maybe as a reason. Maybe that's the reason why. But it also depends on, a lot of different factors. They don't like overcast days. Bees do not want you messing with them if it's overcast.
Is there an explanation why, or
that's just the first rule of thumb. They like sunny days. Sunny days, they're all outside the box. If there's more bees in the box on an overcast day because they're not out foraging in case it storms. So you got more bees in your box. So if you're in there messing with them, they get angry. Then there's just a lot more bees that are trying to sting you.
Let me tell you this. It's been about 8 years now, but I came home one day, and my apartment is what they call a dingbat building. There's like my units in the back, and then Art and Evelyn are next door. Oh, and baby Ike is going to be making an appearance on the Bob Dean Show. They just had their first boy. But, I've got a big picture window in the bedroom, and then, their bedroom wall, and then they've got a big picture window. And in the middle outside, there's a security light, that shines on the 3 little parking spaces out there. It's a charming building. I love it. I've been here for 20 years, and they'll have to blast me out. Directly behind us is a luxury condo of 4 stories. And at that time, there was a small music publishing company in there. So the point is, I came home, I pull in my parking space, and the kid comes running out onto the terrace. And he's like, "Hey, do you live there?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Man, a hive of bees moved in about 3 hours ago." And he sent me all these pictures. And what it was is that in that security light, they had found a way to get into the wall. And he said it happened like that. A whole swarm covered the side of the building, and then they all moved in. And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." So I could see in the morning and especially in the evening, literally the hive entrance was 1 foot from my window.
Right.
And I could stand there, and it was just like being in the hive. It's like a National Geographic thing.
Cool.
They were hovering around, they'd get right on the window and everything. And then I had that Buick wagon with a big glass roof. And I could lay there, recline the seat and watch. It was just like being there. And so I said to the landlord, I'm like, "They're not bothering anybody. Let's leave them alone." So they were doing fine. and it was just so cool to watch them. But then one morning, thank God, I got up. I had a call at 6 a.m. and I got up at about 3:30 to take a leak, and I went in the bathroom, and my black cat Felix was just sitting there, and he's staring at the back of the commode, and I thought I saw something move, and I was like, yeah. So I went, and I took a leak and flushed and washed my hands and went back to bed. When I got up at 5, there were bees all in the bathroom, and they were like hovering around like in a circle. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. So I pulled the door. I'm glad I woke up, because if they were, in fact, like Africanized bees, and I've read all over, like in Arizona and shit, where they'd get into somebody's home, start to settle in, and they'd kill their animals and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but it scared the hell out of me. And then, they did come and smoke the hive out, and they didn't like kill them or anything. But that's my bee story. It was crazy, but it was so wonderful to be able to be so close.
Right. Well, I had 3 hives here, or 2 hives here rather, and then before the eclipse, back in April, Kelly and I got married that Sunday before the Monday of the eclipse, and one of my hives swarmed that day of the eclipse, and then the other hive swarmed the week after the eclipse.
No kidding.
Well, yeah, both of them swarmed, which means that the old queen, there was a new queen that was born. The bees raised a new queen. The old queen took a bunch of her bees and she left and found a new home, went to find a new home. That's what the old bees, that's what the swarm is the old queen taking a bunch of bees with her, and she goes to find a new place to live. Well, that leaves a new queen with new bees, which is good. That's still a strong hive. A swarm is a natural thing. So one of the swarms that happened on the eclipse, I watched it go through the woods right behind me all the way down, and I could hear it continue on and just keep going. And I lost that hive forever. Well, the other hive, a week after the eclipse, it swarmed, and I saw it go down the hill and stop, and I went to try to get some. I had to go to Maumelle to get equipment to capture them. By the time I got back, they were gone. But several days later, I got a phone call from my neighbor at the bottom of the hill, who has a really big garden down there. And he said, Webb, there's a swarm of bees down here. Do you want them? Well, I went down and I captured those bees, and I ended up leaving the box of bees down at his garden so it could pollinate it. So I have one hive down there at my friend Mr. Rainey. I think that's funny because kind of like Mr. Haney from Green Acres. But
he was the best, man.
So I have a hive down at Mr. Rainey's house, and then I have my hive up here. And both of those hives this spring, I'll probably split them, and I'll end up with 4 hives altogether.
That's fantastic, man. I just love you.
So I've got the bees going on. I've got the vegetables whenever we can get them to grow and the bugs don't eat them. We've got flowers that we do, sunflowers we grow every year. We sold a bunch of sunflowers last year, sold a few of them this year, but not as many. And so one of my friends in Maumelle owns a barbecue restaurant. You hear me talk about the Smoke Shack barbecue?
Yeah. We're going to have to wrap this up, though, so go ahead. Finish this up.
I work at the Smoke Shack sometime, or I did for a while, and he lets me set up in his parking lot. And so I set up on Saturdays with Kelly, and we sell all the things that we have here. We sell the spices that I carry. We sell the CBD salve. I sell soil made from my neighbor up here, Adam, at Man the Red Earth, and all that's worm castings and real natural, all natural soil. We sell the honey I make when I do have it. And if I don't have any vegetables, I can buy it at the produce market and then resell it. I can buy it wholesale and resell it. But when I run out of the vegetables, I called my friend here in Mayflower that has a commercial greenhouse operation. And he has about 10,000 mums. And I asked him if he had anything I could sell in replacing the produce that I couldn't find. And so he put me onto mums, and we've been selling mums now for 2 weeks. I'm about to leave and go get a trailer full of mums and deliver them to families all over Maumelle.
It's mum season.
It is mum season, and
My mom used to plant mums everywhere. Listen, we got to wrap this up, Webb.
Hey.
I want to say a couple things real quick. First of all, hi Evelyn Selleck, my dear friend Evelyn. We do theater together and we've done stand up together. She's watching us. We know somebody's watching us on the Bob Dean Show. Yay!
right.
Wow, love you, Evelyn. She just bought a house in the desert, and ironically, Melanie Shellnut is texting through. And I don't think she's watching. I don't think she's watching, but I've been trying to get her on, but she won't. So. We do need to wrap this up, Webb, but do me a favor. We'll do this again. You'll come back on.
Hey, absolutely. I'll tell you more progress about the farm. And
seriously, maybe if Sandy doesn't work out for next week, maybe next week. But if not, the week after or something like that, because I want to stay seasonally with you. It's like we have Mike Sandoval is our Thailand correspondent, and he's a good friend of mine who moved over to Pattaya. And you can be our Arkansas correspondent for real.
Hey, we can do that, sure.
Our Southern correspondent, okay.
Hey, when we change the seasons, you can see the different seasons behind me.
Seriously, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Shaking the cobwebs. Listen, I love you. Give your wife a big old smooch, and anybody from Bellevue High and Kelly's mom, tell Bob Dean says, hey, Sybil, and the whole 9 yards. But we love you, and thank you very much for being on the Bob Dean Show, and bless Three Sisters Farm and your family. And it's good to see you, my friend.
You too, Bob. Thanks
for having me. I'll see you next.
You're listening to The Bob Dean Show, only on LA Talk Radio.